welcome to Choosing Beyond Beyond with myself, Alan Jones, and the gorgeous and awesomely amazing Keisha Clark. And we'd like to welcome you to Choosing Beyond Unkindness with Money. So, Keisha, lead us in, babe.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our conversation about unkindness with money. And so what is a conversation around money that you've always desired to be having and you've not yet dared to choose? Wow. And for anybody who's joining us for the first time, or this is your introduction to Alan and myself, I'm Keisha Clark. I am also Keisha Clark, the radio show host. You may know me as a Living Well empowerment agent. I have a radio show on A2Zen, and my amazing cohort here, Alan Jones, also has a radio show on A2Zen.fm, the playground of possibilities. And so we both have a good time on air there as well. And with Choosing Beyond Beyond, it's, of course, a joint venture between myself and Alan. And we kind of started to play with the idea around conversations that we wanted to be having, but we hadn't yet been willing to have. And that is part of what ushered in Choosing Beyond Beyond. So when we're talking about a beyond, it's typically referred to that space that is sort of where we go when we're in shock or awe. Like we're just not willing to go there. There's different ways you find yourself in a beyond. So you might get a bill that you didn't expect. You might open a letter from someone who truly admires you that you had no idea. You might find yourself lost in a part of town that you've never seen before. So there's different kinds of beyonds to experience. And when we're talking about choosing beyond beyond, we're actually asking you and inviting you and ourselves and each other to choose beyond that space where we make ourselves unconscious, where we go to the place that we kind of go away. So rather than going away with regard to money, or kindness with money, I wonder what we can create today. And that is where this topic came up. Alan, do you want to tell folks a little bit about you, my sweet, amazing, darling friend?
Yeah, why not?
Or I can tell folks about you. I can talk about how wonderful you are if you like.
Well, you can describe me if you like. I'd love people.
Okay, Alan is like super wonderful, awesome, amazing, incredibly talented, has phenomenal capacities, and I adore him beyond measure, beyond. I've had an amazing time working with Alan this last year and a half. I got to have him on my radio show, Living Well, on A2Zen.fm, Fridays, 11 a.m. Eastern. And from there, we just kind of started to run with it. It was so much fun to talk to you. And Alan has, one of his sites is Talking to People, Changing the World. And you certainly are doing that, my friend. So have I not covered anything that you do want people to know? Did I leave anything out? Awesome, wonderful, amazing, gifted, incredibly handsome, wow. Really talented in more ways than we can say on air. How's that?
But yeah, how many beyonds am I going into now? Yeah, interesting. Thank you for that awesome introduction. The only thing I would add to that is when I first started my business, I started talking to people, changing the world, and where I'm more moving towards, and I have been over this last year, is empowering people to embrace their awesomeness. And that energy I would love to infuse in this hangout with Keisha, because it's like when you acknowledge just how awesome you are, nothing is impossible, even being kind with money. So let's kind of infuse the awesomeness that we all be into whatever can be created in this hangout. So we invite you to ask questions if you have them. If you're on there, so forgive me if I ever look slightly distracted and I'm clicking around, you can put questions either on the Q&A here on the Google Hangout, or you can also post them on the Facebook event where you probably picked up the link to watch this. So if you didn't, then you're magical, and perhaps you haven't acknowledged it, or maybe you have. So yeah, ask your questions. What does money mean for you? What does kindness with money mean for you? What does unkindness with money mean for you? And let's just kind of dive right in there, because with unkindness with money, we do it so naturally in this reality that we don't even acknowledge when we are being unkind with money and unkind with ourselves with money. So how often do people use money to abuse themselves?
I would say just about all the time.
Yeah.
Really frequently.
Yeah, and that we're so used to doing it that we don't even acknowledge it. So, just to immediately blast off with something that you may want to ask even right now, universe, show me everywhere I'm being unkind to me with money. Universe, show me everywhere I'm being unkind with money.
Wow.
And this is not, yeah.
Wow.
and this is not about kind of making you wrong or getting you to judge yourself. It's like, look, once you become aware of something, you can change it. But where are you cutting off your awareness because you actually know you're being unkind with money or whatever else it is? So, yeah, universe, show me everywhere I'm being unkind with money. Show me everywhere I'm being unkind to me with money. Show me what my life would be like if I were never unkind with money ever again.
Wow. That's a fabulous energy.
That's it. We're over. We're done.
Bye, thanks, everybody. Let's go sing Kumbaya. No, kidding. We can. That's optional if you want to sing Kumbaya. Perfectly fine. So one of the things that was popping for me as you were talking was how many of us have no idea what kindness with money actually could be?
Yeah, and there it is.
Tilted puppy dog head. It's like, I know that I'm in the middle of that. Like, and part of what I love about the timing of this, Alan and I were like, what conversation wants to be had next? We were just sort of tuning into the energy of choosing beyond and playing with each other and having a fun time and what do we enjoy and what energy is really up right now. And there's a lot of conversations going on about money. A lot of those conversations come from a really linear perspective, and a lot of those conversations are coming from what else is possible with money that we haven't yet considered. So there's just all kinds of money conversation going on. And then we're now on December 1st, at least for this 10 seconds today while we're having this hangout. And the holiday season is typically something that I observe to be a place where we go into complete beyonds with money and kindness and generosity. And there's so much of an insanity that gets created. And we could call it commercialism, we could call it capitalism, we could call it lots of things. So it's not so much about putting a name on it as it is about looking at the energy of what is not truly honoring to ourselves and with each other around money that comes up in the holidays. That if we were to tap into our awareness and what is really true for us, would that allow some of this to really fall away and change completely and not have the charge for us and not let us be at the effect of the popular points of view that you have to have your shopping done by a certain time. You have to get the best price for the gifts you're buying. You have to get a gift for 500 people, even though you only know 250 because you've said hi to 500 people. And if you don't give every one of them a gift, you must not be a kind person, blah, 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 blah. So how does that land for you, Alan? What's stirring for you?
Yeah, for me, especially, if we at the moment we kind of talk about the holiday period and where we're at. So in America, you have Thanksgiving. I don't quite know how it works, whether you buy each other gifts for Thanksgiving or not.
We just go insane to race to a place to eat a lot of food on a particular day. Most of us. Yeah.
And so with all of that, I see people, in the UK we don't have Thanksgiving. We have Christmas is quite a big thing, and people go insane. They just get caught up in the hype of buying. There was having a conversation with this guy once. He was just, it flabbergasted me, the stuff that he would buy. For his Christmas dinner, he would buy a whole turkey. Yeah, that's fine. That's cool, because most people will do that. And then there'll be pork, and then there'll be ham, and then there'll be beef, and then there'll be, and he had all of these things. Just, and all this food, and then they would have, and they would have starters, and then they would have all these vegetables, and then they would have pudding and stuff. And then they would, and this is without any presents. This is just the main meal. I think, okay, not only is that unkindness in terms of money, of what you're being with money, it's probably not very kind to your body. But I see people, and alcohol, they just stuck already. In November, I noticed in Sainsbury's in the supermarket just around the corner, people are already going to the tills with trolleyfuls of stuff that they're putting away for Christmas.
Yeah. And
we've had adverts all year round about saving for Christmas, so that Christmas is not too expensive. You can buy everyone, what they desire. So put your money away now. And it's like this big black hole that people are constantly chucking money into, just to prove to people that they care.
I love that you called it a black hole.
Well, it kind of
the nature of the black hole, and like it's one of those places that things go that never return.
Yeah.
It's this big mystery. It's this big scary thing for a lot of people. So it's interesting that energy came up. And so how many ways are we making money and financial reality and kindness in all of that a complete mystery? And how much are we making it a place that things go to but never come back to us?
Yeah.
And that we never allow our knowing to show us what's really going on with respect to those things, whether it's the holiday insanities or not. And for all of you who have fabulous times during the holiday and love the holidays, yes. And what would it take to have more of the joy of whatever holiday season you're celebrating, at whatever point on the calendar you're celebrating it, in a way that is really creating something greater in your life, in all of our lives, I wonder. And so does the joy of the holiday season depend specifically on money, Alan?
Well, people will tell you, no, of course it doesn't. And on the one hand, and then on the other hand, I see people going out and spending enormous amounts of money. No, that's not true. They're not spending enormous amounts of money. They're putting huge amounts on credit. And so, this is it. It's like, how much, it's almost like we get into this frenzy of how much debt can I get into for Christmas? Because you have to, I have to keep up with, I can't be judged for being mean or frugal or any of that kind of stuff. I can't be judged for being a Scrooge because I'm not buying something for everyone, because I'm not buying into the hype of what it is. And I'll pay it off after Christmas. But in the back of your head, because I've been there, it's there, and it's that constant niggling of how the hell am I going to pay this back? How the hell am I going to pay this back? And also, I don't know what it's like in the US, but in the UK, often people are paid just before Christmas. So that what happens is they're normally paid at the end of the month, but because a lot of people take time off over Christmas, they get paid before Christmas. So not only do they have the normal month that they would need to kind of get through, they have the extra week as well. And also January is a long month. So you're almost trying to make your salary last for 7 weeks. And because it's there, and it's there only because they were paid 3 weeks earlier, because they haven't used all that month's money up yet, they plow it into Christmas. And because they don't want to receive the judgment of being a Scrooge. They don't want to receive the judgment of being really tight with their money. And we did a radio show on Playground Possibilities, and we said, what if Scrooge actually didn't get it wrong, or something like that. And it was like, well,
it was a good show.
It was really fun, because we were playing with, okay, Scrooge, often he's seen as this mean, kind of unkind person, and in many ways he was. And what also, if that's okay, in terms of what he was choosing not to buy into this whole thing around, well, at Christmas you have to give. Well, what about the rest of the year? there are homeless people in the world for the rest of the year. Do you salvage your conscience by only being kind with money in that 2-week period over kind of where Christmas begins and ends?
So isn't that part of the unkindness? Like that there is this kind of unspoken expectation that the giving that we get into the giving spirit. Wow, that's really kind of yucky. For a certain number of days or weeks in the year or on certain dates that we do that. And God, that is like this so contra to the way our energy organically moves and generates and creates. Like, are we naturally stingy? Are we naturally, like, organically not giving beings or creatures? Does your body wait until a certain hour of the day to let you know it's going to do something for you? Or is your body like consistently, constantly offering you energy and possibilities and movement and support? It's carrying you from one place to the next. So that's interesting that we've sort of segmented or compartmentalized or incrementalized the giving energies. That's really interesting.
And receiving, because we're talking about debt, or past extension, whatever you want to call it, depending on your point of view. We get into this space where we're paying out all this money, and how unkind are we in terms of what we are willing to receive? Oh no, you brought me something. Hello, Ellen. So Ellen Noonan saying hello. So hello, Ellen. And so we go into this kind of almost immediate judgment of, oh my God, I can't possibly receive that. That's too much, and now I have to give something back. And where are we unkind to ourselves in terms of receiving at that time of year? And where do we only allow ourselves to receive? Oh well, it's Christmas, I'll receive it. It's Christmas, I'll receive it. Whereas we cut off our receiving, and not just Christmas, but other events as well.
Well, and do we automatically receive it truly?
Yeah, are we even receiving it?
Holiday. Like, are we truly receiving that? And is that equally unkind with money?
Yeah.
As if we go out and we use money that really isn't, that we're not really using it in a way that is generative for us, or is a contribution for us, or the person we're purchasing that gift for, if that's what we're choosing.
And as you're saying that, of course, what often people view money as is separate from themselves.
That's where I was. Yeah. That's something I was picking up on too. It's like we do this weird thing, and if anyone is hearing us say, or if anyone is taking from this that we're telling you you're absolutely wrong for spending money at all, please know that's absolutely what we're saying. No.
Never spend another penny, ever.
Money is awful, it's horrible, it's dirty, it's nasty, and you should never, ever do anything with it. And I'm so kidding right now. So please don't buy into that unless it really works for you. And then, of course, have a way with it. It's kind of fascinating that we we sort of invent these rules about money, and then we use those rules to beat ourselves up for not really following the rules. Mm-hmm. But then there's these rules that are unspoken, like the secret hidden rule, like no matter what, you must debt yourself to appear generous. Isn't that interesting? Where did that come from? And so, like you're saying, a lot of us, myself included, I've had more years that I could more easily receive debt than I could a gift of the holiday or any other day of the year. I could more easily receive the debt than I could what else was possible. Did you have some of that?
That's very true, because again, okay, so let's look at that. We kind of, the people who are giving us money, we see them as cold hard bastards quite often, who are willing to rip us off and charge us huge interest rates. These are just kind of awarenesses I get. And so we don't care whether they judge us or not. So we're happy to kind of have that from them, because like they don't really matter. We've decided they're meaningless and insignificant. Yet we won't receive that judgment from people that we've decided we care about, or that are more, that would affect us if they judged us in a particular way.
Yeah, like we have an investment that they like us.
Yeah. And just what we were talking about receiving earlier on, and Ellen's actually said, are we receiving or taking? And that's a really good point. There's an exercise that I get people to do, and this is a bit weird and wacky, so, be ready for it. But, walk around your house to everything you've got in your house and ask energetically, so what in this room have I never really received? Because you may have things in your house that you've never really acknowledged that you've received, or you never even received them. They're just items that are sitting there. And what if you were to receive everything? What if the greatest kindness you can be with money is to receive the energy of money from everything, not just the coins and the notes and the checks and the credit card payments that you have had identified as money?
So what's coming up for me is the things that people make for us, or the things we make for people, what we refer to as homemade gifts here in the States. Is that a similar thing that you guys do? And there's been this kind of weird
cheapskate
set of points of views around making gifts. And now, some people are truly artisans and they make gifts that actually appear, they have this gorgeous look to them. Other people make gifts, like I know when I was much younger, when it came to my grandparents, my grandmother was always crocheting things for me. And it was not something that I had an appreciation for, I will tell you, as a child. It wasn't really functional for me, and so I didn't have an appreciation for it. And what I'm getting is the energy of something that we're having any points of view around, we're not receiving that either.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I know that I've had Christmases that I have just totally been thrilled to actually make gifts. And it's been anything from earrings and necklaces to different types of fun things you can put in your garden, to fun candle holders. I mean, it just depends on, whatever age I was. But what I'm kind of having a different sense of, or different awareness around, is when we're not, two things. When we're making those gifts from the energy of, I have to do this because I don't have a choice, unkindness is part of what I'm perceiving there. I am perceiving the unkindness of that to ourselves, as well as to the people we're wanting to offer those gifts to. Second part of it is when we're not able to receive those gifts. Another form of unkindness with money. And both of those have to do with money, even though they might have nothing to do with literally dollars and cents. So it's like, where have we so disconnected ourselves from what is what the energy of money is, the wealth, the generativeness, the generosity, the energy that actually contributes to and increases or expands another energy to create more? Like, where have we created that as outside of us? And where are we not allowing that to be part of the energy that is actually us?
It's like, the thing is, I mean, I get that. We have separated it. And where did we learn that? And it's almost like we're pretending not to be what we already know that we are, but we don't acknowledge that we are it. So we have to pretend that we're not it in order to show people that we are trying to be it. And we get ourselves to, so everything that's bringing up for everyone, so expand your energy out. Let's just choose. Would you be willing? We invite you to choose beyond that you've just gone into.
Yeah, I love Eleanor says value. And
Yeah.
that's a word that gets thrown around a lot. And I'm always I get a little bit of a chuckle out of when I see things listed as blah, blah, blah product, a such and such value now can be yours for. And it's like, so how many ways are we doing that with ourselves and our bodies? Here I am, limitless, priceless value, now available to you for $1.99. How many ways are we doing that? Oh my God. Apparently that has tapped a nerve with a few people. So
Yeah.
everything that's beyond the $1.99 version of you, would you be willing to have some questions in your universe now? Would you even be willing to know the beyond $1.99 version of you?
Mm.
And everything that you're trying to put in the way of you knowing that, would you be willing to choose beyond all of it?
Mm.
Everywhere you're making any of those things significant, would you be willing to choose beyond all of that?
Wow.
We have a lot of resistance to that, don't we? And
Oh,
I'm a card carrying member of that club.
wow.
So what else is possible with our sense of and our knowing of our value?
Oh, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what do we know about our intrinsic value without
What,
putting the meaning and the significance around it that we're pretending not to know?
yeah, what is the value of us?
Where are we trying to put a price on it? You can't.
Yeah.
You know, it's well, you can try, and everywhere you put a price on it, you define it.
Yeah.
So everywhere you're defining yourself in order to put a price on you, in order to so that you can decide whether people can receive you for that price.
Ouch. Oh, goodness gracious.
So, yeah, Lisa Murray. I was doing a coaching call with Crystal Crawford, who actually mentioned Lisa Murray, saying to her, "What if your business? I think that's right. Your business and your money creation, or your receiving money, are not intrinsically linked. What
I
if you
love
just,
that question.
yeah? What if you're
You're
creating
asking,
your business from the space of fun, and you're willing to receive money? A does not necessarily equal B, if you know what I mean. So it's like, where are you intrinsically trying to make an algorithm of that? A plus B equals C. You know, if I
wow.
have my price and if these people are willing to pay it, then C, I will get it.
Wow.
Um,
So is that part of why we make ourselves separate from money? Because we think we have to get it in order to be something?
well, what do you know?
There's like this really twisty energy that comes up for me with all that.
It's quite funky, isn't
I
it?
mean, I can say that I've done that as I'm looking at this. It's yeah, like rather than this is all a part of this energy of separation.
Yeah.
Like that we're not a part of this whole beautiful, amazing work of art of this entire universe. So I got a little bit lofty there. So let me bring that back into like, okay, so for each of us individually, um, and I don't need an explanation or a reason. I'm just looking at how many ways I have separated myself from the energies that are generative, from really from my gifts and my capacities. And every time we separate ourselves from something and set an energy outside of us, these days I'm getting a much greater sense of how that creates this interesting energetic dynamic of us becoming at the effect of it. And I've heard that said a number of times. When you make an energy separate from you, you actually live at the effect of it. Because once you take it outside of it, once we make, we'll say money in this conversation, once we make money separate from us, then we have to do something to either get it or give it. And in most cases, the way it's taught on this planet is that you have to get it in order to be able to give it.
Yeah.
And we're also taught, not necessarily consciously or out loud, that most of what you have to give your money away for are things that you are not going to like.
Or even desire.
Or desire. But they are things that are required at the same time. For example, utility bills or monthly insurance fees. So this becomes a really convoluted house of mirrors that we've created, or that we can create.
So let's choose beyond that.
So what is beyond that? Let's explore that. So
something as you were talking, something that was coming to me was, what if every one of us is money differently?
Yes.
What if
I love that question.
Yeah. What if there are no there? What if what if how I am money is very different to how you are money, and neither one of us is wrong? It just is. It's just a different kind of expression of it. And what if none of us, not one single person being a molecule, can generate or generates money in the same way? And yet what we're looking for is the ultimate way of doing it with ease, except that the way we do it, the way we be it, is so different to other people that we immediately make ourselves wrong, because it's not the same. And then other people will try to make us wrong because they feel wrong, so they'll make us wrong so that they don't feel wrong.
I love the energy of what you were just saying. All of that part that just completely beautifully for me illustrated this whole thing that gets created when we make money separate from us, and then we try to find someone else's version of how to do money and overlay that into our lives and onto our bodies and how we function around money. And
when you try to do sameness with money,
wow,
that's an unkindness.
And if you look around, just sort of an easy sort of illustration that comes to mind for me, or a simplistic illustration, I guess I could say, is if you look at a garden, a flower garden, okay, like beautiful English gardens that you guys have, it's like big deal to have a beautiful English garden. And if you look at how many different plants are in that garden, would any of those plants singularly have a greater value or a greater contribution to that garden than any of the other plants? And it's like, no. So it's really all of those plants, all of those different forms of nature coming together in this garden that creates the experience and the contribution that we receive, if we're willing to receive it, when we walk through that garden.
Exactly.
And I'm so getting, go ahead.
No. So I love that.
I'm so getting how this is the place I have made myself the most wrong, is that the way I do money is absolutely unheard of and therefore can't be real. Can't be true for me. And these last probably 3 or 4 weeks, it has really gotten more intense. And I know that some of that is with the approach of the particular date on the calendar. And it's a cycle that we go through every year. And it makes money for a lot of people that this cycle occurs, because it's profitable for a number of folks. And what I'm also getting is the way that money naturally moves and happens for me. And I'm not talking about specifically cash money. I'm talking about the energy of money. So for anybody who's kind of having tilted puppy dog head about, well, what do you mean the energy of money? If I don't have dollars and cents, oh, isn't that interesting? If I don't have cash or credit, I don't have money. I've definitely had that point of view in my lifetime. Have you?
Most definitely. And, I used to think I had money when I could spend £100,000 on my credit cards and loans.
Wow.
Yeah, and I did. I spent that amount of money all the time, and I used to get my bonuses from banking, and I'd pay it off. And then all of a sudden, I left banking, and I left myself with a £55,000. That's probably about $80,000
US.
US, or 100,000 Canadian. And yeah, was that a kindness to me? At the time, I thought I was being kind by buying myself these things, but really, did I even want them? Did I desire them? No. And so many things are popping for me as you were talking. It's like, where you were talking about being at the effect of, and when you're refusing to receive something, you become at the effect of it. And so every time you refuse to be something, you become the effect of it. So everywhere you're refusing to be money, what do you think happens? You become controlled by it. You become controlled by those people who are willing to control with it.
And for me, what I'm getting is you're controlled by the points of view. You're not controlled by the true essence of what it is. You're controlled by everybody else's invention of it or twisted version of it. Because how many of those people are acknowledging the money they be?
Sorry, just something that Eleanor said. There was a comment that she made earlier, which is it feels so unreachable. So yeah, we'll come to that in a second. And it's like, I am 100% in a cash business. Is that true? Or is that just how you've defined it?
Is that your form of commerce?
Yeah. Or is that money?
Or is that, yeah.
How are you, so it's like, so where I was going to go with that is, as well as, universe, show me what I be with money, that if I would acknowledge it, would give me more ease than ever before with playing with money.
I'm just so getting in this moment, like how we get into that unkindness. Where the unkindness begins, in my awareness, is the moment I deny the energy of money that I truly be.
There it is.
That begets all kinds of unkindness with money for me, and has. It's certainly, my life is a beautiful illustration of that. It's part of how we can receive these, what for some of us are unimaginable amounts of money, or even wonderfully large amounts of money, and it absolutely disappears. It like, because we disappear money. We will disappear the manifestations of it if we're not acknowledging that we actually be it.
There was, we were talking about this actually on the Possibility Portal call. Yes. What day is it today?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. It was yesterday. Forgive me, my days blur. One to the next. And we were talking about the video that was on Facebook about a guy who walked around with a whole load of dollar bills all over his clothing, and he just walked along with a sign saying, take as much as you need. And people would, most people were kind of walking past him, and every now and then somebody would walk up, and there was a woman who walked up to him, and he said to her, you're carrying a Louis Vuitton handbag. Why do you need money? She goes, well, I'm going to get my nails done. So she takes off, a few of the dollars so that she can go and get her nails done. And, and there were some people who were coming up who kind of clearly, quote unquote, very well dressed, clearly had money, who were taking it.
But his sign didn't say take what you need if you make less than $50,000 a year.
Exactly. He said take what you desire, and they were willing to receive money. And then there was a homeless guy who came up and just took kind of a couple of dollars just because he wanted something to eat. And the guy ended up giving him $50, saying, I really want to make sure that you have somewhere to sleep, blah blah blah. And my question is well, could he receive that? you've just forced your superior attitude of, well, you must need $50. Otherwise, if the guy really wanted to receive it, he'd have taken more off. And so, if someone someone did that to me, if I saw someone walking down the street, I would like to think, and I still have hesitation, would I take all of it? I would, it's like, I don't know.
Well, what's interesting is his sign said, take what you need.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point to me. That's a part of where we sort of, the whole, that kind of compounds the unkindness, is we have this, and I've done this myself. I'm actually quite good at it. We have this perception or this invention of need or neediness, but really the invention of need takes us into the neediness energy. And when I'm functioning from that, there is never enough, which is part of why in those times that I was functioning from that, no matter what amount I took in, no matter how many hours I worked or clients I saw or how many dollars came into my bank account, they weren't there very long. Like the neediness disappeared the money into the black hole. So it's fascinating how that works as well.
Yeah. And with that, are you willing to have money?
That's where, and it's like, so when you ask that question and we connect that with, or we set that next to the point about what if money actually is us, the energy before we turn it into dollars and cents or whatever exchange unit in your country, what are we unwilling to receive of us?
Because just that now is the most brilliant time to come back to that thing that Ellen said earlier on. It feels unreachable. Stop trying to fucking reach it. You are it.
That's the, yeah, it's like when you're trying to get to it, you've already concluded that you're not it.
Yeah, I have to give myself another arm because I haven't got one.
Right? So you've already stopped acknowledging that it's right here. Now, for all of you who are going to the space of, but this doesn't pay my bills. Okay, there's conversation to be had between what we've just said and this doesn't pay my bills.
Yeah.
And this is another place that we have huge unkindness with money, is that we, at the speed of sound, we turn the energy of us into how much is required to pay for something.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a different way to say that, Alan?
Does it come back to value again? What do we make? It's almost like we're making paying out greater. Almost like we've made it inconceivable that we would ever have more money coming in and have more money than there would ever be going out. And if our point of view creates our reality that we have a black hole, so like how many people have created a black hole of expenditure that, the more you put into it, the greater it gets. The more you put into it, the greater it gets. The more you put into it, and the more you're feeding that black hole with your point of view, that no matter how much money you put into it, it just gets bigger. So what if you were to choose beyond that and stop putting your energy into the black hole of expenses and go, okay, so universe, what's beyond that? So let's choose beyond that, beyond.
Yeah, and like this, a part of this that I'm so getting is, we included this a little bit earlier too, is like when you're investing, whatever way you're doing it, when you're putting money into something, if you're not receiving something from what you're putting the money into, in other words, if you're paying your light bill, and I'm speaking to me as much as I'm speaking to everybody else, if I'm paying my light bill without any sense of, yes, this amount is the agreed upon dollar amount for my having electricity this month, which is keeping my heater on, is keeping my hot water heater running, is keeping my lights on in my house for me to work by, is keeping my computer running. So if I'm paying the bill from the space of, oh my God, I hate to pay this bill, I've just completely, in an energy of unkindness, discounted everything that I have been receiving in exchange for that. And what is that creating? Because that's where we get really tangled up.
Yeah.
So
Gratitude, I think, is such a key.
Acknowledgement and gratitude are enormous. And how many ways do we refuse having acknowledgement and gratitude of us?
Yeah. And when you say I've got my electricity bill to pay, rather than getting pissed because you have to pay the bill, what if you could be grateful that you do have the money to pay the bill right there, that your electricity company, if you have one, are willing to let you pay monthly if that's how you do it. So it's almost like what, and it's not about kind of covering it up with faux gratitude.
No.
It's about looking at it going, wow, do you know what? I do have enough money for my electricity bill. I'm so grateful for that. And choosing beyond what this reality would go, do you know what? Thank you, electricity bill, for having this contribution to my life. Because when you feel yourself going into it beyond when you have a bill to pay, it's almost like be grateful that it's there, because you can look at it and go, okay, so what is that? What is this beyond I'm going into with paying this bill?
And is that really your point of view?
Yeah.
Like, do you really believe that you are going to be destitute and not be able to pay your bills? Or are you doing everything you can to take on the energy of that, to make that real and true for you? I've done it. I've tried very hard to make it real and true for me that I'm pathetic. It doesn't work very well, and it actually creates a great deal of misery for me. And,
a lie. Fucking lie.
Totally. And it's so when we talk about what's between the being the energy of money and acknowledging you are the energy of money and the this doesn't pay my bills. Well, first, it's an interesting point of view that this doesn't pay my bills. Can we play with that a little bit? Because that is where so many people go, and I have done it, and I know a number of people have done it. Yes, we look at like, okay, I can be money. Yes, I'm the energy money. Yes, I'm wonderful. Yes, I'm fabulous. Yes, I'm a gift from God, blah, 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 blah. How phenomenal and spectacular and all that. And that won't pay my bills. So the moment we go to, and that won't pay my bills, what is that?
Projected futures.
Yeah.
You're constant. I did a post about this on Facebook actually, and it was if all you're doing is focusing on what bills you will have to pay, so that you have to create money now in order to pay those bills. And the universe, again, remember, it responds to your point of view. So if your point of view is always, I have all these bills to pay, so I have to make sure I create money now to pay them, then what you're going to be doing is creating more bills to pay. So, I love the Byron Katie thing. I saw this one clip where she was kind of talking to this young girl saying, or young woman, about not having any money. And she was saying, so right here, right now, do you need money? Right here, right now, in this instant, do you need money? No. Okay. And right now, right here, in this moment, do you require money? No. And it's almost like in this space, what can you choose? And the girl was, or the woman was, she was saying, I'm homeless, I've got no money, and, I've got no job. By the time she'd left the kind of the videoed kind of interview, or the kind of after it had all finished, the class had finished, somebody had offered her a bed in their house, somebody else had offered her a job, and people had put money together to, and it wasn't because they felt sorry for, clearly there may well have been people who did feel sorry, but there were people there who were willing to be kind to her, and she received it. There was a kind of she kind of, it's that willingness to be present in this moment, going, right, okay, so universe, what's it going to take for me to have ease with this? If I weren't choosing, because when you're stressing about how you're going to pay something, what are you doing? You're putting your blinders on to where you can receive.
Wow, I just got this in a way I've never gotten it before. When you're doing that, when we are actively trying to figure out how, in this case, for this conversation, to pay something, we're completely discounting and discrediting and shutting down what we are that is totally capable of generating and creating whatever is required. That's a little bit out there. I get that. Can we play with that? Because that's something that I've had it in the it's kind of out there version, but just as you were saying that, it's like every moment that I choose to go to the space of constriction around any question of money, the paper version, the cash version, the incrementalized version, not what money truly is, but the definition of it that I've bought into. The moment I do that, I'm so getting how I completely debt myself to what that definition is, rather than being in my awareness and my capability of what I can choose next. Because what I'm really choosing is like this very closed-ended, limited choice.
How much of us do we have to cut off in order not to receive?
Yeah.
And that, have you, I mean, I guess this is a question I would ask for me as well. Have I ever been at any point unable to put a roof over my head or put food on my table in some form? Have I ever been homeless? Because often, one of the beyonds that we can go into is, oh my God, what happens if I'm homeless? Have you ever been homeless? Are you choosing to be homeless? And it's okay if you are choosing that. That's
yeah,
okay.
If you are, have you made yourself wrong?
And so, don't make yourself wrong for the choices you have made or you are making. It's like, if you really wanted to be homeless, you would have chosen it by now. Controversial. Hate me. Okay. But, it is. It's like, and so what have you made so real about these fantasies of what might happen and all these projected futures that we were talking about that keeps you from actually acknowledging how awesome you are at generating and actualizing everything that you require?
Yeah.
You have to chop off your arms in order for you not to be able to receive money into your hands. You have to, unless you tie them behind your back or whatever else. It's like,
yeah.
And
or unless you're holding on to your pile of shit.
Yeah, exactly. If you're holding on to your pile of,
I'm not letting go of my shit. I'm not going to receive money because I'm not letting go of my shit. Because it's so enormous, I have to hold on to it, and it occupies both my hands. Yeah.
What do you love so much about holding on to shit that keeps you from receiving everything?
Wow. Wow. So wherever we are, the unkindness energy is coming back up. It's like, is it really essential or necessary that we identify all the ways that we could be unkind with money?
No, we just choose.
Or could we could we begin asking, what do I actually know about money? And what is the way I do money? And what is the way I be the energy of money that is uniquely mine?
Yeah.
That is absolutely generative and constructive and expansive and is a contribution to my body, to my family, to all of the people who are willing to receive me. Because that's part of the key.
I'm going to use your analogy of the garden. If all you do is constantly look for weeds and things to take out of your garden without looking for things that you would love to have in it, is your garden ever, are you ever going to have fun and pleasure and enjoyment in your garden?
Will you receive it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
receive it. No, because you're always looking and going, that's not right. That's not right. Rather than looking and going, hey, what else can I add? What
So
else
the
can I add?
garden is a chore and a
Yeah,
drain and a difficulty and an effort rather than a joy and a space that really contributes to you.
yeah.
Yeah. So would you be willing to play with the question of, with lots of questions, in particular, the question of what is my way of money? What is the way I be the energy of money?
I
And you
love.
can simply ask, universe, show me the energy of money I truly be. And I wonder if this will begin to give you a bit of insight. You may start to notice pieces of information start to drift into your universe. You'll see something online. A particular ad will show up on your newsfeed in social media. A particular person's post will land on your newsfeed in social media, or an email will show up in your inbox, or you'll be driving down the road and you'll see a particular billboard. And it may not be any of the words, it may be the picture that's on that billboard that inspires something for you. So the moment we're willing to begin to ask about it and about how it could be different and how, what is it truly for each of us, you might be surprised at the magic that can begin to show up.
Yeah.
And you can also ask, what would kindness with money be for me here?
I was just about to say that.
I was reading your mind or your universe or your mail. I don't know.
Yeah.
What would kindness with money be for me here? And you can use that for anything. What would kindness with my body be for me here? What would kindness with what, help me, Alan. What are some other things to be kind with? Kindness with, yeah. I love
basic
that.
things that we kind of do every day. What would kindness for me be in terms of fun? What would kindness be for me in terms of nurturing my body, in terms of choosing? Where are we unkind to ourselves when it comes to choosing?
Mm-hmm.
What kindness can I be? What's kindness for me in terms of receiving?
Yeah.
And what if all of those things, as Keisha, and I have both said throughout this, what if it is different for you? What if
That's so
the
key.
way you receive, the way you gift, the way you generate money, the way you be money, the way you be kind with money? What if the whole freaking reason you're here is because you are so fucking unique?
And everywhere you're making that a beyond.
Yeah.
Are you willing to see what is past that? What is beyond everything you've made a mystery about you?
So, universe, show me what the world will be like in 1,000 years if I choose more kindness for me with money. And and what invitation can you be for that? And what choices can you make today, no matter how small they may appear or how simple, that will begin to actualize that right away? So, yeah. What magic do you be with money that you've never acknowledged?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. What brilliance with money.
Yeah. Absolutely. And everywhere you're kind of immediately going, but I'm not magic and I'm not brilliant. Okay. Who does that belong to? And are you willing? We invite you now to choose. Let's go beyond that. Let's choose beyond that. And beyond that. And choose beyond that. So it's totally inconceivable. Choosing beyond that, choosing beyond that. And we're just get into the energy of that. Be the energy of that. Let's go beyond that and beyond that and beyond that. How much space can you be right now to receive and be that? So that's a great way to draw it to a close.
It is. And of course, I could talk for another hour.
And we will.
So yes, we will. So just for everyone, if you are finding yourself being pulled like from that space of, oh, this is not really what I want to do, to any kind of investment, in particular within the next 4 to 6 weeks as we move through this season, what question could you ask that would allow you to have more ease with all of this? And ask it in your head. What question can I ask here that would allow me to have greater ease with all of this? And would you be willing to honor you first and foremost and receive what that could create for you? And even if some parts of it are uncomfortable, I wonder if that is the beginning of you getting to the gift of you.
Yeah, it's almost like everywhere you've made yourself so familiar with being comfortable, with being unkind with money, rather than the uncomfortableness of being kind with money.
Yeah.
Will you choose that?
Yeah. Wow.
Can we have the money now, please?
Yes. And what else is possible with money? Being it, receiving it, having it, choosing it, gifting it, contributing it, becoming it, that we've never even dared to consider or talk about. So if people have questions that come up, Alan, could we invite them to post them on the Choosing Beyond Beyond page?
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. Post them there. If they're ones that you would rather keep private, feel free to message me or Keisha directly, or you can also email us at choosingbeyondbeyond@gmail.com. I think that's right. Is that what our email address is? Can you remember? Yeah, it is. So I think that's right. Bear with me as I'm checking that as we speak.
Alan will confirm those details because that's part of how awesome he is. So yeah, and in the meantime, if you want to play more with Alan and myself, you can certainly join us each week for the radio shows. And for both of the shows we have now, Alan has a wonderful co-host, Tamara Yonker, and I have a solo show, and I usually have amazing guests. And so you can find all of the information about those shows, and you can also tap into the archives of those shows if you go to a2zen.fm, and that's A2zen.fm. And you can always come play with us live on the shows. There's a feature on A2Zen that you can actually join us backstage in the chat room. So it's really easy to do that. Just follow the instructions on the site. There's no IQ test to be able to play with us in the chat room. You just basically give yourself a name and come on in. And and you can also visit Alan at his website, alan-jones.com. Isn't that correct, Alan? Yeah. He has some yummy classes.
Yeah, alun-jones.com.
Good detail there. And then tell folks about the portal, the Possibilities Portal.
Yeah, so the Possibility Portal is a place and space where Tamara Yonker and I will, we have a 90-minute facilitation call each month. And the energy of these calls is really kind of beyond, where we kind of really explore with different stuff. And yesterday we were talking about the congruency of choice. So we have a group of people who subscribes. It's a monthly subscription. You come in, you have the 90-minute call, and you get the clearing loop, and you get the recording, and you get the PDFs, and you also have a support group on Facebook. And the energy of support there and the willingness for people to choose, it's not just about fixing what's kind of wrong with your life. It's about choosing something greater. And the energy of these calls is really kind of quite intense at times. And it is that kind of, it is uncomfortable. And it is so freaking awesome to see people having massive aha moments and choosing beyond that. So, Keisha is one of the people who comes to play with us. So, come and play with us there if you like. If you go to my website, which is alan-jones.com, there is a link on there which will tell you more about it. So
it's awesome.
It's awesome.
Alan is awesome. Take my word for it. But you can also check his website out.
Yeah.
Just, if you want to.
And so, the reason I play with Keisha is because she is such, for me, a gentle, kind invitation. I kind of tend to be a bit kind of like swank, and and I, don't get me wrong, I'm not kind of unkind. Keisha has in many ways a different. Well, we have different approaches, and so we have such a different way of looking at stuff,
which is part of what I love about getting to play together. Yeah. And it very much speaks to what we were talking about in this conversation: is what is the uniquely you that you be. And I greatly appreciate that we offer each other the space to be who and however we are on whatever day we're showing up to play together. It is such a gift, and it is a huge contribution to me to just have that freedom to be everything I am with you, and to receive everything you are with me. And what I love is that I'm also receiving more of me as I play with you. And that's the kind of people I would like to be around more of.
Yeah.
And would all of you be willing to choose that? Would you be willing to ask for that?
Yeah.
And would you be willing to know or be aware of that one of the first steps of that is acknowledging you have something too? And even though in this conversation we've been talking about what is my unique energy of money, what is the energy of money I be, you can ask that question in a really general sense. What is the uniqueness of me?
Yeah.
And if you're able to ask that question with no point of view about what information shows up for you, it will change the way things occur for you. It truly will.
And for people around you, because as you shift and change, then so will.
Wow. And if you want to play with me, I'm just going to put a quick plug. For the next few days, the way to play with me will be on my Facebook page. And it is Living Well, WEAL, with Keisha, KEISHA. Living Well with Keisha on Facebook. If you would like to be a part of my community for this next few days, you can do that by liking the Living Well Facebook page. And as soon as I have my website rocking and rolling, I will put a notice up on that page, and then I'll start inviting you all to be a part of my community by offering me your email so that I can let you know how many fun ways to play with me there will be in the near future. Yay! So, how does it get even better? How does it get even better? And what gift can you be to you this holiday season that you've never been willing to be or receive? What would change in your life if you were willing to have that and choose that? And thank you, everybody who's joined us and everybody who's listening in the future. Thank you for your comments and your feedback. This is such a joy to get to do this.
So
yes, I'm loving seeing that. Thank you all so much.
And for your comments.
Thank you for the gift each of you brings to these conversations and to this world. Whether people are letting you know how fabulous you are or not out loud, please know that many of us see it and are being grateful for it. And please keep choosing what works for you. And what kindness can we be with money? And what kindness can we be with ourselves that would truly allow us to receive the gift of this holiday season?
Awesome.
And what else is possible? We adore you. And Alan, I love you.
I love you too.
I'm loving you with heaps of gratitude.
Thank you for coming, everybody.
Yes.
See you soon.
Very happy holidays.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.